Shalom, brother and sister truth seekers. It's been a full day of Sundial data collection across the world, and looks like we have at least a little over 10 people that I've heard from collecting Sundial data. Most of them, there are probably more. It just takes time to collect the data sometimes, but yeah, I think there's enough to kind of give a summary for today. The summary is it does not seem it was close, but it does not seem like anyone has seen the straight line yet, or maybe I should say the majority of witness seems to be indicating that the straight line has not occurred yet. There were a few people whose data sets looked like they might be straight, but unfortunately that might be just due to not having enough data, a spread of data, like from the first point of the day to the last point of the day. If you don't get those early morning and late evening points, then there can be multiple days right around the Equinox event that things look pretty straight. But it's really those early morning and late evening points that cause things to really curve. So anyway, I'm going to try and talk through these again by time zone, and we'll start with New Zealand. So this is Asher in New Zealand. Once again, so it it looks definitely like there are some points off the line. I question these two. They almost look a little too far off the line. Make me wonder if something might have changed, got bumped or moved. So just be careful about that. These look more like what we would expect to see. Uh, but anyway, yeah, we'll be sitting on the edge of our seat to see what he comes up with tomorrow. In fact, as I'm recording this now, I'm sure he has already started to collect his early morning points. Yeah, I usually hear from everyone in Australia early in the morning my time. So yeah, pray he has clear skies to do that. Um, who would be next? We had some in Africa. This was near the equator in Uganda. I believe this was Dan, and he had a pretty good spread of data from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So what is that? 9 hours. Excellent. That's definitely what we're talking about. 8 is a bare minimum, but anything over 8 that you're able to get, it just helps to see that curve easier. So he's using these asterisk symbols. Tomorrow, I think he's going to try and use just a point as we get closer to seeing that straight line. We're going to want to really refine our marks to make sure we can see things flipping or straightening out. But yes, the curve doesn't look like it's happened yet. I think there was one more from Africa, Mali. Okay. This was 10 hours of data too. It's really faint to see picture resolution wise. You can just barely see. So they've got timestamps from 7 a.m. to 1700. So what is that? 5 hours. 5 hours. So it's like 10 hours. It's a real excellent spread of data. Thought they were still seeing a curve. You can just barely see these points here. There's one. There's one. There's one. There's one coming close to the line, and there's another one. It looks like this line he's got pulled here is slightly off of that point, but even if you pulled it close, you can still see there's quite a gap here at the midday points. I can't quite see where the other ones are, but yeah, that seems to be in harmony with what everyone else is seeing. Hopefully, we can get a higher resolution picture tomorrow. Okay, who's next? I don't want to miss anybody. I think we're gonna jump over to USA, Georgia. I just got these results in. Truth Seeker, who's relatively new to sundials, was practicing, and I think she missed like all morning, unfortunately. So I think she's one of the examples where the data looks fairly straight, but that might just well, it's very likely just because the those early morning points are missing. Really, all morning points there. But amazingly, it looks like she was able to get a point as late as 7 o'clock. So that's really good. If she can get points in the morning, it should be very easy for her to see the straight line and the curves coming up. Um, let's see. I guess we'll jump to my data. So I was fighting clouds here in West Virginia today. It looked like this all day today, but miraculously the creator opened up pockets for the sun to shine through at 3 different points today, and I was able to get my well, it wasn't the earliest morning point, but I was able to get a point in the morning, point in the afternoon, and my point at midday. And figure out a close up of my point at midday. This caret here. So right in the inside the caret is where the tip of my nail was, and so you can see it's below this red line that was pulled. My points were M for today. So yeah, it didn't look like a curve. Didn't look like a straight line yet here in West Virginia. I guess we can go to Texas. Texas, how about Mississippi? Let's do Mississippi. Oh yeah. Um, Lots of good data here. Different gnomes, I think 3 inches tall. Uh, they had they had shade at 6 p.m. and they had curves, clouds till 9:15, but they still had like 9.5 hours of data. So, yeah, this is kind of hard to see from this angle. Let me see if I can get this 7 inch tall one. 5 inch, 7 inch. So you can see how tall this thing is. And you can see when he pulls, or she pulls, or who I think it was a couple who did this, it looks like there's definitely a gap still seen there on the midday marks. So maybe, yeah, I would just say if we do this again, let's make sure that we got to make sure our line that we pull isn't getting hung up on any of the intermediate points, though on the day of the straight line, they are going to be touching. But yeah, maybe if we took the picture a little bit to the left here, we could see exactly. We might be able to see that a little better how these are all interfacing with that line, but I believe that is showing us still a curve, and that's in harmony with what everyone else is seeing to this point. Um, Texas, Dion. She, I believe she was fighting with clouds all day today too, but she said she believed she was still seeing curves. So she's got this point tight, and she's got this point tight, and then she looks at her midday points, they're off the line. So yes, I would agree. Looks like a curve. All right, who is left? Okay, we got Remnant of Light out in Utah, and they were using the artillery sundial. I have not heard yet about their straight line tests. I don't know if they got clouded out in the morning, but they're pretty good with their artillery tool. They use both the artillery and do the straight line on the table, and I've seen them get very consistent results over the years. So I'm not an expert on artilleries, but I guess this shadow is supposed to be centered right on these crosshairs, so it's curved on the arm up here, so that isn't. I saw a post where she was saying that's definitely to be interpreted that the straight line has not occurred yet. Um, okay, Oregon. Let's do Calgary, Canada. And this was Covenant Calendar Club leader Tim using a taller sundial. Noman, he's got some kind of a spool and the taller gnomon here, but looks like he's got his string pulled, and you can see some of these points are already off the line. Um, I think he colored the stake red from today, and so you can see there's still a gap. He's not quite on there. Um, yeah, so we'll stay tuned to see how that what happens with that tomorrow. Now this is, I think we got a couple left. Danon in California. He struggled with the fog in the morning, unfortunately. Yeah, I think he was fogged in until 10:46. So unfortunately, 10:46, he got six. Well, he almost got 8 hours of data. So, but you can see it looks like his data was pretty much. He's got 1 point here that's off the line. He's got 1 point that's above the line there. Um, but it did look pretty close to a straight line, and yeah, that's just something you have to. It can happen. That's why I say the closer you can get to 9 to 10 hours of data, the better to really catch those hooks in the morning and evening. Um, but I mean, yeah, pulling this point here, it actually looks like these ones are all above the line. See, I can see the red line there, and there's a shadow of that line being thrown, and the shadow is on. Looks like looks like some of those are still off the line there. So I actually don't know what he feels he was seeing, and that's very useful. If when you send your data in, if you can just briefly explain what you thought you were seeing, like, do you think this was straight? Do you think this was curved? So it kind of looks like this was straight, and it kind of looks like this one maybe still had a curve. So I mean, based on what everyone else was seeing, it does seem like we're still seeing curve. And there is one more data set from out west that came in from Manna from Heaven Ministries in Oregon, USA. I think that's the last one. Let's make sure. Okay, yeah. So they had a really nice setup. They got this nice long table here, and they were able to get, I think, 10 and a half hours of data. Let me check that. I know I made a note somewhere. Yeah, from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. That's the best spread of data I've seen so far. So let's see. Yeah, they just sent me these images. This is their first time collecting data, so I don't know if they knew what was the best way to kind of take a picture of this, but this is a good angle for us to be able to see all the points in one shot. And what I did was I just took a screen capture of that and dropped in a line going from the base of the first mark to the base of the last mark there. And you can see they did tell me that they thought they were seeing a curve, and so I dropped this line in because they weren't able to send me a picture with the line on it. But from this line I've drawn, it looks like a number of these points are definitely off the line. They do have an outlier here, and I don't know if that means this one is wrong or this one is wrong. But we do expect to see like a nice smooth curve. These lines should be smooth, so they shouldn't be like wavy. So something's going on with either this one or this one. I don't know. But if we did ignore this one and we looked at this one, that just helps things. It just, so if I put that line from that one to the last one, these midday marks are even more off the line than they were with this one. So either way, it does look like I'm still seeing a slight curve. So I guess that's the update for now. For the 18th, it doesn't look like anyone was seeing the straight line. So yeah, stay tuned. I think tomorrow is going to be a big day. If you want to like keep tabs on live results, like as I receive them via email. If you want to email them, send them to avoiceoftruthandlove@gmail.com, or you can upload them directly to this Facebook group. There's just that's the best way to kind of have like a live feed of what's happening throughout the day. Feel free to check this out. Stay tuned, and we'll see what happens tomorrow and the day after. Shalom, and may Abba bless as you continually seek out His truth and love with a pure heart.